Okay, last year's Elimination Chamber is a pretty high bar to beat. There were more um, shocking or at least really hot story developments, and there was that one jaw-dropping, once-in-a-lifetime moment, the Cena heel turn. Uh, that wasn't the same this year, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a solid show. In fact, I think it was quite a solid show with some quite decent build for WrestleMania and some good matches and moments. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jason C. McLean, and this is my review of the 2026 WWE Elimination Chamber Premium Live event. From Chicago, Illinois, birthplace of CM Punk and current home of AJ Lee. They're both a very big part of this show, as is one of their friends, or one of Punk's friends. Anyways, I'm recording this March the 3rd, Tuesday in the evening. So yeah, I have seen the Raw after Elimination Chamber. I'm going to try and not bring my thoughts on that into this review as much, because I'm going to do a separate assorted thoughts video on that. All right, let's start with the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, Tiffany Stratton, and Kiana James. Now, last year, the first two participants didn't really get the start because Jade Cargill came in and, took out Naomi. This time, Jade Cargill and her championship were the prize if somebody could possibly win by winning this chamber. So it didn't start off that hot. It was like a normal match. Kiana James wasn't the first one eliminated. She did look good in the match for a first time in the match. Just her being in the match is a big advancement for her. Alexa Bliss looked really good jumping off the pods and all that, doing some of the aerial stuff, but she was the first one eliminated after Asuka missed her and Kiana James pinned her. And it makes logical sense. Of course, you're going to let somebody else pin the person because once they're out, as long as they're not pinning you, you're not going to try and stop a pin. I think I've seen people try to break up pins in Elimination Chamber matches, which is just weird. Now, I did in my prediction video say that Raquel Rodriguez was going to win, but after seeing what happened on SmackDown with Lash Legends and Nia Jax, the Irresistible Forces winning the women's tag titles, I knew Rhea Ripley was going to win, barring Bianca Belair showing up from a pod that was in the crate. That didn't happen. So yeah, but Raquel didn't win, but she looked really strong. She got a double pin on Asuka and Kiana James. Like, wow, and she was dominant for a lot of the match. I think she was really impressive. Obviously, this was a good performance for her, even though she didn't win. Stratton took advantage from a move by Rhea Ripley and pinned Raquel, eliminating her. And I thought maybe Stratton had a chance, but it just didn't make sense storyline-wise. But then once Rhea shoved her through a pod, like, wow, that was violent. Got the Riptide, 1, 2, 3. Yep. Rhea Ripley won. It was definitely an exciting match to watch. I kind of figured the outcome. But you know what? Rhea versus Jade at Mania, I'm definitely excited to see that. And I like the way it happened. It did make sense, and it was an exciting match to watch. It wasn't as intense as last year. And I think overall, the storytelling was better last year, but there was nothing wrong with it. It was very good. I'm going to give it an A-. Next up for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, the champion Becky Lynch defends against challenger and current Chicago resident AJ Lee. Okay, now, I did think Becky was going to win through shenanigans, only for AJ to win it back at WrestleMania. But I realized after the actual result of this match was the perfect choice. Not only because of what we saw on Raw, but because there's no way Becky's going to give AJ a rematch if she wins, even by cheating. But now AJ might very well give Becky one. But this was exciting. This was good. Jessica Carr, of course, was the referee. Fast count Carr. They're really setting up her and Becky Lynch for something. At one point, there was a ref bump. Jessica Carr was knocked out. AJ Lee gets the Black Widow on Becky, and we get the visual tap out. And I thought, okay, when that didn't happen, that was it. There was the turnbuckle missing. Eventually, Becky's the one going into the turnbuckle, but it took a little while after Carr tried to put it back and stopped AJ from going into it. She didn't stop Becky from going into it, but I guess, it's fair. It's referee's prerogative. And she got the tap out. I'm sure Becky's going to be complaining, but you know what? It was fun to watch. It was the right result for the crowd. It was the right result going into WrestleMania. And yay, AJ Lee is the new Women's Intercontinental Champion. I enjoyed this match. I'm going to give it an A. It wasn't the best Becky Lynch match I've seen. I think the mixed tag had more storytelling in it, but there's nothing really wrong with it. It was really good. Good second match of the night. And then for the World Heavyweight Championship, the champion CM Punk defends against challenger Finn Balor. Now, the entrance was, I was trying to figure out what the entrance was. It was actually the Chicago Bulls. For CM Punk, that is. Finn Balor had his entrance. It was a Finn Balor entrance. Before Cult of Personality hit, we had the Chicago Bulls song, which I didn't even realize it was. I was watching with my brother Joe. He realized it. And it was apparently the original announcer introducing CM Punk. It was a cool entrance the last time they'll ever have a chance to do that maybe not the last time, but it's the first time in a while they have a chance to introduce CM Punk in WWE in the United Center. So, of course, make it big. The match itself, I mean, okay. I knew that Punk was going to win. I don't even think there were like odds on this match. You don't want to mess up the main event of WrestleMania. But that said, there was a lot of drama with is Finn Balor going to get some cheating on his side? Is Judgment Day going to come down? He looked off to the edge, but they never came down. Did that twice. They never came down. It was a fair match. There was a handshake at the end. That's for stuff going forward. But Punk definitely did look in trouble, and he looked like he was showing his age. He was sort of busted open from inside the mouth, a little bloody mouth. He looked ragged. He gave his all, and so did Finn Balor. And it was like a clinic on how to do a good match and how to have drama and tension when people are pretty much sure about the result. Punk tried the sharpshooter a few times. There were eventually he almost got it with the sharpshooter, but there were coup de grace attempts. That eventually Punk just a bunch of go to sleeps. He won it his way instead of a tribute to his idol Bret Hart. And it was honestly, I think match wise, it was, even though the outcome was pretty certain, it was probably the best match of the night. I'm going to give it an A+. And then we had the reveal of the mystery crate. Was it Chris Jericho? Was it some big star coming back? You know what? I think WWE kind of hinted that it wasn't going to be a main eventer. It was going to be a mid-carder, because after the initial reveal, they had like Johnny Gargano lying on top of it. Basically, I mean, Rhea did look at it. Other people did, but it was mainly the mid-card looking at it. And yeah, it was Danhausen with a bunch of different dancers, one of whom apparently was his wife. He gave his teeth to Michael Cole. And the crowd were like, okay. And then the lights went out and they booed a little bit. I think maybe they were expecting something bigger. I don't know Danhausen that well. I'm getting to know him because I never really watched AEW. But you know what? I'm going to talk about more of this in my Monday Night Raw assorted thoughts. But it was definitely anticlimactic, but it was funny. It was weird. My brother was like, who's this guy? Is he a vampire? I think he's a vampire. Yeah, he's kind of got the makeup on, but he talks like a normal kind of guy, just a bit weird. And I don't know. I'm not going to give this a grade. It was a bit of a disappointment and anticlimactic, but it shouldn't have been. I think they let us know that it wasn't going to be that big. And you know what? Fine. Bring out Danhausen. It was sort of a little let me up segment that we all thought was going to be major, but it wasn't. I'm not mad at it, but I'm not going to give it a grade. And we had the men's elimination chamber match. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, LA Knight, yeah, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and not Jey Uso, Logan Paul. Now, okay, it was supposed to be Bronson Reed. I mean, little behind the scenes thing, Bronson Reed did get injured in that match on Raw, the qualifier match, so they made a battlefield decision, last minute decision. Jey Uso won it because somebody had to win it on the night, but they wanted somebody in the Vision to be in the Elimination Chamber for reasons that became apparent later in the match. And they had to find a way to get, so they wanted to put Logan Paul in, but so they had to have Jey Uso get attacked, which actually created some interesting stories. I think in storyline, it might not even be the Vision who attacked him, but that's a little maybe like a happy accident for their storytelling. They got another little mystery on their hands who attacked Jey Uso. But yeah, Logan Paul was in there, and Logan Paul clearly had the Bronson Reed spot. He eliminated 3 people. He was really, really good in the chamber. He eliminated he eliminated Javon. Javon, he didn't. I was really hoping he was going to jump up to the cage, the top of the pod, jump off. He didn't get to do that spot. Other people went up on the top of the pods, but it was still good. I mean, he did go up to the pod, but like he was not as bouncy as I thought he would be, but he still did good. Yeah, Logan eliminated him, eliminated Trick, and eliminated LA Knight. Yeah, well, that was the last one. And then we had the whole because on SmackDown we had somebody, the masked man, unmasked, and it was just some guy. I found out later it was a student from Seth Rollins' school. That should have been a hint as to who it was. I had other theories going, but I guess the logical one was Seth Rollins, because then we had another masked man come in. I knew that wasn't the right masked man because he started climbing on the outside of the cage. What are you doing? Like, that's not going to do anything. Just a distraction, gets pulled away, unmasked, another unknown guy. And then one sneaks into the cage, attacks and stomps Logan. Cody rolls him up for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Cody taking advantage of outside interference, but that's what he did in the qualifying match. That's what he did here. Unmasked Seth Rollins. Paul Heyman is shocked. Seth is back. They got him as a babyface. More on him on the Raw sort of thoughts. And then Cody and Randy, but there wasn't even like, there was like moments. There was like a little bit of back and forth with them, but then the door hadn't even closed yet. And Drew comes in, smashes Cody with the title belt. Randy attacks Drew, does the RKO. Cody does the crossroads, and right from the crossroads, he eats an RKO. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton wins the men's elimination chamber match. Now, I was really happy with this result because I didn't want it to just be Cody and Drew, or maybe Cody, Drew, and Jacob. Now, it might be Cody, Randy, and Drew, or it might just be Cody and Randy, because Cody has a match against Drew for the title. Nick Aldis was very angry. You got to watch the post show, by the way. If I was ever at one of these live shows and they had a little post show panel, I would go out and watch that, stay in the arena, especially unless it's like freezing cold in Montreal, because it was it's where some of the stuff happens. There was some major developments there. We have that match. So it might be a multi-person match. I'm not sure, but honestly, I'm glad that it's not theoretically just going to be Drew and Cody, or even just Drew, Cody, and Jacob, because that's not, I mean, even if it doesn't main event night one, the night two main event is clearly Punk and Roman, but even if it doesn't main event night one, it's the opening match, it's got to be more interesting than that. So I was really happy that Randy got this victory. It's not that I don't like Cody. I just wanted someone else to win this. And I was rooting for Randy the entire time in this match, and he won. And it does color my opinion of it. Was it as uncertain dramatic as the last one, Cena and Punk, whatever? Maybe not, but I still liked it. It was still a well executed thing, and I'd say on par with the women's match. Also gets an A-. So that's what I thought of the 2026 WWE Elimination Chamber Premium Live event from windy Chicago, Illinois. Did you agree with my take? Do you have your own opinions? Do you agree that maybe this, although it was good, it didn't really, I don't think it lived up to last year's, but I think it might have done some things better because it's, I think, a more understandable build, and how they ended up having the match they wanted by replacing Bronson Reed first with Jey Uso, then getting him out creatively, and then putting in Logan Paul and having Logan Paul do the Bronson Reed match. It would have been funny if Logan Paul did a tsunami, but no. Anyways, do you agree? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Voice Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, at Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. Also jasoncmclean.bsky.social on Bluesky. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications for all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, wrestling opinion pieces, assorted thoughts on Raw and SmackDown, and WWE Premium Live event prediction, and of course, review videos. I will be back with my assorted thoughts on Raw. Until then, for Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.